Hi, you're listening to the My Body, My Story podcast.
Now I feel like it's a gift. The accident was an absolute gift because I took the kids for granted, I took my husband for granted. I was always just rushing on to the next thing, and I certainly now have this wonderful memory of my daughter last Christmas.
This is the 45 over 45 chapter where we celebrate rule breakers and role models, the women who inspire us to live life our way and to show their sensuality, beauty, soul, and true essence. Here, we talk about what it's like to be 45 plus, adjusting to the changes that come with time, and we listen to the stories of our participants. If you have an interesting story, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us at info@alexandrawalker.com. That's Alexandra spelt with a K-S. Or visit our website, alexandrawalker.com.
Hi everyone, and welcome to My Body, My Story project. And today with us Chanelle. And while she's sitting in the makeup chair and Nicole is doing makeup for her, I'll be asking her a few questions. Hi Chanelle.
Hi.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 47 today. As you said, today's my birthday. I've got two little kids who are 6 and 9, a daughter and a son. I became disabled 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, and that sort of shaped my life quite dramatically than it was before. But, life now is all about sort of embracing that and, going forward with all the challenges and joy that has brought me, because it's probably been a great blessing as well as something very hard.
So what happened?
So I had a big motorbike accident. I used to race motorbikes. My husband still does. We've a very motorbike family. I had a big accident in Darwin and lost the use of my dominant arm.
Oh God, yeah.
So I've had a lot of surgeries since that, 9 surgeries to try and get it working a little bit, and it is certainly better than it was. And I've just had a big muscle transfer to try and get my hand to move a bit, which has been quite successful. So I've got a big job, and we live on a farm, so we've got animals, and
Wow.
it's a busy life, I guess.
So where is it?
In Kurrajong, so up the Bellsliner Road. It's beautiful. We love it out there. It's only an hour from here, but it's a lifetime away, really.
So is it just for you, or you grow goods for?
No, it's just for us. I ride horses competitively as well, have my whole life, and I still do now, disabled. So I have the horses and an arena that I train on, and
excellent.
it's beautiful. It's a very humble home, but it's beautiful. It's especially in the pandemic, it was lovely to live there.
Yeah. Do you grow any like vegetables and fruits or?
No, not really. We just have
land.
it to be away from. Yeah, you can't see us from the road. We're very secluded. It's beautiful. So I love good for the kids. It's very safe, and a lot of they can be outside all the time.
Do they also ride?
They do. They're not like me. I'm obsessed and have been since I was little.
Yeah.
But so they're both very competent, but they don't have the passion for it that I do, which is good in a way because it's a very expensive hobby to have as an adult.
Yeah. So what do you do in life?
You mean for work?
Or? For work. Yeah.
So I work for a big hospital company, and I'm the head of risk.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
I've been there 18 years. So since I was 29, feels like my whole life, to be honest. It's a wonderful company. It's very big. We've got sort of 35,000 staff, and.
Is it like a decision and risk analysis, or it's a risk?
It's more. Because the business is very old and very sophisticated, so being head of risk really means capturing everything that's going on and pushing it up to the board. It's more about a framework of information rather than doing the physical risk assessments anymore. It's more about making sure that the board and the executive are aware of everything, and that risk is being assessed or opportunities are coming out of risk.
Interesting. So what are you most passionate about?
Probably a couple of things. The kids have changed me significantly. I said I would never have children, and then I had my daughter when I was 38, and was the greatest thing I ever did. And I look back now and think that I nearly missed it. I nearly didn't have children, and I'm so glad that I did. So I'm passionate about them, and I'm passionate about riding the horses because I compete disabled now, and they got me through the accident in a lot of ways because they were the one thing that I didn't lose. So I felt like I lost a lot. I couldn't ride motorbikes anymore, and I couldn't type, or I couldn't drive for a long time, and so there were lots that I couldn't write, and I had beautiful handwriting, and so a lot of things I felt like I lost. But the horses, I was back on a horse in 12 weeks. So I'm very passionate about that, and I'm on sort of a journey to become a para rider, so a disabled rider. And I'm writing a book about resilience.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that. I've written about 15 chapters, so probably halfway through.
Do you know what it would be called already? Or
I have named it, although I've got a coach, and he said the name might change, but it's called Broken Umbrella, because once I was in a storm and I asked a hotel I was staying at for an umbrella, and they said, we don't have any, but we have this old one that was actually in the bin. And they said, you're welcome to have it. And I took it, and it kept me dry, and I walked the distance that I had to walk, and I kept it for years because it was still good and useful, and I felt like it was sort of like me.
Yeah.
So the book's called Broken Umbrella, but yeah, I'm not sure if that'll be its final name, but that's what it is at the moment.
I would love to read it.
Oh.
Yeah. Please let me know when you finish it.
I will. I hope to finish it, by September. So.
Sometimes I heard that if you believe in destiny or something like that, so then when God takes something from you, he gives you something back in return. So do you think you gain something out of losing this ability to move with one of your hand? Like, did you gain something else, or something else was given to you in return?
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe that life gives with one hand and takes with the other. And in the beginning, I couldn't move my arm at all, so it was completely useless. And I had a baby in nappies. My son was the baby, and Scarlett, my daughter, was not quite 4, so that she was little, and life was very hard. It was a very challenging time, and I am sort of the head of the family and the breadwinner, and so I felt like I just had to go on. But now I feel like it's a gift. The accident was an absolute gift because I took the kids for granted, I took my husband for granted. I was always just rushing on to the next thing, and I certainly now have this wonderful memory of my daughter last Christmas. She loves Christmas, and we were decorating the tree, and she was dancing around saying, this is my most favourite time of year. And I remember sitting there thinking, I was nearly killed that day, because I was, and I would have missed all of this. So it has definitely been an absolute gift, because now I try not to get upset about everything, and I try to really spend more quality time with the kids so that, I just take more from them and realise what a gift they are. So yes, I definitely think it's the best thing that ever happened to me, really, which is odd, given it was, a big accident.
Yeah. Sometimes God stops us if we cannot stop ourselves, so, unfortunately. So, what changes have you experienced with age, which are positive at the moment? What it would be?
So a couple of things. I've always struggled with my weight, which I think is every woman does.
Yep.
And in order to be thin, I used to starve, and then I would binge, and so my weight always was fluctuated about 10 kilos. And then I discovered as I got older a way of eating that just meant that life became very easy. So I became a keto person, which it's not for everybody, but I found it so easy to eat all the time and never be hungry, and my weight was where I wanted it to be. So I find that being older has helped me to work out what's easier, and you still feel good, and keeping your weight at a good level is much easier. And I find now I'm much more comfortable with my body than I ever was. I used to hate my knees, and I was knock-kneed as a child. I hated the way I walked, and I've got terrible hair, so I was always very unhappy with that, and I had bad skin. But I find the older I get, the more I love everything that I'm lucky enough to have now. And so I would never go back. Like if somebody said, "Oh, would you like to be 30?" No way. I would never go back because I find getting older is so good. It's so much better than, and maybe because I was taking it for granted as well, but I find I am more comfortable now and feel more beautiful than I ever did before. Maybe because I just am at home with myself.
Yeah, but it should be a challenge as well. So what is the biggest challenge with age, causing by age at the moment?
I don't...
Caused by age?
Probably being tired. I do find, because I don't find my age to be a problem really. I'm very fit and active, and living on a property, you've always got work to do. There's always things to be doing. I find life is easier as you get older because you've got more money and you're more comfortable with decisions and things like that. But I think a challenge is not comparing yourself, how you look, to people who are young, because they're everywhere. Their beautiful, flawless skin, and, I don't know, everyone seems to be magnificent now. When I was a kid, everybody was ugly. They were gangly girls everywhere. It was very rare to be beautiful, but I find all girls now, young girls, are magnificent. So I think I'm trying to teach my daughter that, that is irrelevant, and it's, you see the beauty in the real things that are important. So, just not being drawn into all of that exposure to people who are flawless, because it can get people down.
Yeah, that's true. Where do you think, because you mentioned it already, like when you were young, you hated your body and you were not comfortable with. Where do you think this idea of perfect body image comes from, and what it would be for you, your perfect body?
Well, as much as I hate to say it, my perfect body was probably when it worked.
Healthy body, yeah.
Yeah, so I do look back, and that's probably one thing I do wish I could get back in a way, is, I see people lifting kids with two hands and that sort of thing. I think, that's a perfect body now. Whereas I think before the accident I would have said being thin and having beautiful legs and, very, very lithe. Whereas now I think it's more about function and, what it can give you in your life. But for me, I wouldn't want to trade my body, even though I can admire people who have magnificent physiques. I know my body, I know how strong it is, and, that it's given me kids and protected me when I should have died. I should have absolutely died in that accident, and it was, millimetres away. So, I wouldn't change it now. I think that it's, it's the one I'm meant to have, and it's serving me well.
So, what does it mean to you, feeling good and looking good? What comes first?
I think feeling good comes first. I used to think it was looking good. I used to think it was if you were thin and had, the right clothes and expensive things, and now I don't think that at all. I think it's more about being happy, like, and positive, and if you're in that frame of mind, then you tend to feel better, and having good experiences. But I guess so. I didn't answer your question about where do I think the body image comes from, and I do think it's from media and from other women. As I get older, I realise that men don't care about the things that you think that they care about. And I actually, I've got a good friend who I am quite open with, and I said to him a few months ago that I hated my knees, and he said, because I was wearing a short dress, which I never do because I always wanted to cover my knees up, but I just decided that was ridiculous, and I had this dress on, and he said, Chanelle, men don't care about what your knees look like. Like it's the last thing on their mind, really. And it was one of those moments where you realise that the things that you obsess about are really irrelevant most of the time. It's whether you're happy, whether you're in a good frame of mind, and, having nice clothes is always a bonus, but, I think the media, you see beautiful, perfect women everywhere, on every magazine and on the TV, and, everyone in movies is thin, and so I do think it comes from that. And my kids now are even saying to me, "Oh, Mum, you never eat," or, if I say, "Oh, I think I'm fat," they're like, "You're not fat." So, you've got to watch it, because you can give the wrong impression, even when you're trying so hard, to young people who are impressionable.
Yeah, and it's just interesting. How do we come up with things like we hate about ourselves? Because like knees.
I know.
Why?
I know.
Or somebody said like, "Oh, I don't like this wear, so I have to look really close to understand what you would talk about, what you don't like. Like, I don't like this part of my body." Say, okay, what's wrong with that? It's just interesting how we come up with that. What made you think that, like, your knees are not good? Like, it's really interesting. I think it's very psychological.
Oh, it is, and I don't know where it started, but I remember I had a lot of medicals after my accident, and even one of the doctors said to me, "Oh, you've got these typical knees," and he gave my knees this weird medical term, which means you can't really see your kneecap. And I said to him, "You're reinforcing my whole life of not hating not liking my knees." And he said, "Oh, don't be ridiculous." So I don't know what it is about my knees, but I think it was more because when I was younger, I was knock-kneed, and I forced myself to walk differently so that I was not knock-kneed anymore. So I obviously and I can remember that being sort of 8, 9 years old, and seeing myself in a mirror in a shop, and thinking, "Oh, look how I walk," and that was it. I was obsessed with my knees from that point on.
Gosh. Okay, so what makes you feel the most beautiful?
I don't know, to be honest. I guess if I'm just feeling good about myself, and I'm in a good place, and if I am accomplishing things, I definitely feel better when I have makeup on and I'm put together. And I always wear makeup, always have my whole life. Although I'm sitting here, I've got nothing on my face right now. But, for example, I have never been to work without makeup on in my entire life. So I do feel better when I'm sort of made up. But my husband and my kids have all said to me, "Oh, you look better with nothing." So that has definitely changed me in the last, as my kids are getting a bit older and they're a bit more in tune with what's going on. Now it's all about how I'm feeling rather than having anything to do with what I look like.
So let's go back to your life and accomplishments. So what would it be, your greatest accomplishment so far?
Well, I used to think, because when I was a student in school, I was very mediocre. I was a very average student, and I always wanted to be a lawyer. And I didn't think I was smart enough. And then at 30, I got my law degree and became a lawyer. And then I did a Master of Laws when I was pregnant with Alexander, actually. And I thought, oh, this is my greatest achievement. You know, I never thought I was smart enough to do this, and I've done 2 law degrees now. But since having the accident, my greatest accomplishment, other than the children, is embracing being disabled. Because, you know, a lot of people said to me, oh, it would have ruined me. I would have really been depressed. And, you know, because it was my right arm, I was right-handed. But as I said to you, it feels like a gift, and embracing it and seeing it as something positive, which I genuinely do. In my book, I have a whole chapter on the fact that it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I feel like I'm a better person now. That is my greatest accomplishment, I think.
Very nice. And if you could, I know you mentioned you wouldn't want to go back to your 30-year-old self, but if you had chance to meet her, what would you tell her, or what advice would you give her?
Probably that life is going to get infinitely harder. So when I think about my 30-year-old self, I had not a care in the world, really. And, you know, children are hard, and getting older is hard, and then the accident was hard, and now it's just the challenges are constant. It's not like you have one giant thing to deal with per year. It's like a constant flow of challenge, and you get better at it as you get older. But I would say that, you know, life is really hard. You have to see joy in any place you can, and that you have to be prepared that it's not easy, you know, and that buckle up, because until I was 30, life was so easy and you don't realise.
Get ready early.
Exactly.
And what would you say to younger women who will eventually undergo this age changes and reach close to 50 age? What would you tell them?
I would say, firstly, that, you know, life gets more complicated as you get older, so you need to enjoy each part. The only thing I regret, and I wouldn't want to go back, but I didn't enjoy it enough. So I didn't enjoy being 30, you know, I didn't enjoy being 21, because I was always wanting to be, you know, the next thing. I wanted to get my degree, and I wanted a better job, and I wanted to, you know, and I got divorced when I was young, and so I wasted a lot of it. So I would say to them that getting older is fabulous, because it really is. Like, since I've turned, all the years after 40 have been the best years. But enjoy more of the younger part, because it goes like that, you know. And then, you know, look at my parents, and, you know, my dad, who's in his 70s, is saying, oh, it's terrible being this old, you know, now I'm in the last bit, you know. I'm like, you're so young, and 70 is not old, but you do. It's just, it goes so quickly, or you could die, you know. People are taken from us all the time. So you don't want to waste years and years getting to the next point and then it's all over. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, stop and, you know, smell
Enjoy
the roses,
now.
correct? Because you just don't know when it's all coming to an end.
So if you have any, what is your favorite quote about being a woman?
Well, there's a few. I love the saying that you don't appreciate your mother until you are a mother, because that is absolutely true. I'm one of 5 daughters, and I did not appreciate my mother until I had my daughter, and that's a tragedy, because I was 38, so I, you know, didn't treat her the way she deserved to be treated until, you know, until then, really. So that's not really a quote about women, but it's something that I love to say to people, because I think it reminds you, just like, if your mother's wonderful, which 99% of them are, it's just such a gift. And then when you have your own children, you realise what they sacrifice for you. But Marilyn Monroe's got a great, and I don't know if if it's hers or if she got it from somewhere, but it's, if you're a woman and your ambition is to be equal with men, you lack ambition. You know, because my father, who had, you know, all of these daughters, taught us that we are equal. Men are not in any way, they might be stronger, but we're stronger in we bear the children. So I have never thought that I was not equal to a man. And I think all women need that, all girls.
What a great father he was.
Oh, he was. And it was never, oh, girls can't do that. You know, that's why I ride motorbikes or do whatever, surfing, you know, because he always treated us as equals, which we are.
That's great. So you have 4 sisters.
Yeah.
And they also drive motorbikes. So
The eldest one, she can ride. This actually, and the one above me in the middle, she can ride. Yeah, we've all ridden motorbikes at one time or another, but I'm the only one who's
the risky one.
obsessed. Yeah. And we can all ride horses, but I'm the only one who kept at it my whole life.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chanelle. Thank you very much for sharing your story. I really enjoyed the conversation with you. And welcome again to the project. And I hope you will enjoy the rest of the day and your photo shoot.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
And happy birthday again.
Oh, thank you. 47.
If you have an interesting story, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us at info@alexandrawalker.com. That's Alexandra spelt with a KS. Or visit our website, alexandrawalker.com.